Welcome to Hacker Hacks, your go-to podcast for the latest in cybersecurity and hacking news. In today's episode, we dive into major security breaches, zero-day vulnerabilities, and the evolving landscape of digital asset security. From the latest threats affecting global corporations to heroic white hat interventions, we've got you covered. Stay tuned as we break down what's happening in the world of cybersecurity. Ivanti has warned of a critical zero-day vulnerability, CVE 2025-0282, affecting its Connect Secure, Policy Secure, and ZTA Gateways VPN products. The flaw allows hackers to remotely plant malicious code without authentication, compromising corporate networks. Ivanti discovered the vulnerability after its integrity checker tool flagged malicious activity on some appliances. A patch for Connect Secure is available, but fixes for Policy Secure and ZTA gateways will be released by January 21st. The vulnerability was actively exploited starting in mid-December 2024, with cybersecurity firm Mandiant suspecting a China-linked cyber espionage group. The attack, which targets mission-critical appliances, has widespread impact and is being investigated by agencies like CISA and the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre. Ivanti is working on security improvements after past exploitation incidents. A major data breach has compromised millions of users of popular apps like Vinted, Spotify, Candy Crush, and Tinder, whose location data was stolen. Hackers targeted Gravy Analytics, a US company that brokers location data for thousands of apps. The stolen data includes sensitive GPS and IP addresses potentially spanning years. The breach was exposed on a Russian cybercriminal forum, with hackers claiming to have access to up to 10 terabytes of data. Experts warn that this data could lead to social engineering scams, blackmail, or identity theft. The breach highlights the risks of location tracking by apps and data brokers, with growing concerns over privacy. Gravy Analytics has previously faced criticism for selling sensitive data, including users' visits to health-related locations and places of worship. Authorities are monitoring the situation, but the full scale of the breach is still unclear. 23. A cybersecurity breach of PowerSchool, a widely used student information system in Nova Scotia, has compromised personal data of some staff and students in the Cape Breton Victoria Regional Centre for Education. Officials were alerted to the breach, part of a global incident, and are investigating with PowerSchool and IBM. Data such as birth dates, addresses, and emergency contacts may have been accessed, but no banking details were involved. The breach appears isolated to this region, affecting over 13250 students and 3,000 staff. Nova Scotia continues to assess the full impact and ensure containment. The Kerala Vigilance Department has sought government approval to hack phones of officials and public servants to combat corruption and collect digital evidence admissible under new laws. Currently, vigilance requires crime branch permission for phone tapping, often leading to leaks. Vigilance Chief DGP Yogesh Gupta plans to create an Officers of Doubtful Integrity list to monitor movements, bank transactions, and calls of officials, including those in central services. Phone hacking without prior approval is allowed for 7 days, with a request to the government required within 3 days. Tapping permits granted by the Home Secretary last up to 2 months. Michael Rivas, 19, from Florida, pleaded guilty to kidnapping and conspiracy in a failed ransom plot in Connecticut. 6 men targeted a couple, assaulting and abducting them, believing their son held significant cryptocurrency. The FBI is investigating links to a $240 million Bitcoin heist a week earlier, where scammers posed as Google tech support to steal 4,100 Bitcoin. The suspects spent millions on luxury cars, watches, and mansions. Prosecutors tied 2 suspects to the crypto theft, but have not confirmed connections between the ransom and heist. Rivas faces 14 years in prison, with sentencing set for May 13th. Chinese state-backed hackers known as Silk Typhoon, aka Hafnium, breached the US Treasury's network in December using a stolen remote support SaaS API key from Beyond Trust. They targeted the Office of Foreign Assets Control to gather intelligence on potential US sanctions against Chinese entities. The Treasury confirmed no ongoing access after the compromised Beyond Trust instance was shut down. Silk Typhoon, infamous for exploiting Microsoft Exchange vulnerabilities in 2021, specializes in cyber espionage and data theft. In response, the Biden administration is preparing an executive order to bolster cybersecurity with enhanced authentication encryption and cloud service guidelines. Turkey has established a Cybersecurity Directorate to combat cyber threats as per a presidential decree. Chaired by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the Cybersecurity Board includes key ministries and will oversee policies, strategies, and action plans for cybersecurity. Vice President Cevdet Yilmaz emphasized enhancing collaboration between public, private, and academic sectors. In 2024, Turkey introduced a cybersecurity roadmap to strengthen information infrastructure and national readiness. Recently, 9 suspects linked to cyber espionage and data selling were arrested, and 18 illegal websites were shut down, highlighting Turkey's intensified efforts against cybercrime. Portfolio management services players have criticized SEBI's cybersecurity rules introduced in August 2024 as burdensome and overly prescriptive. Concerns include requirements for physical backups of client data, mandatory vulnerability tests, and separate dealing rooms, which increase costs and operational complexity. While SEBI's intent to enhance cybersecurity is appreciated, market participants argue it should focus on desired outcomes rather than specifying methods. For example, the circular mandates offline encrypted data backups at off-site locations and quarterly testing to ensure data security, adding extra costs for compliance. Multiple vulnerabilities in Palo Alto Networks' Expedition migration tool, which assists in migrating firewall configurations, could expose sensitive data such as usernames, clear text passwords, device configurations, and API keys. Vulnerabilities tracked under CVEs, CVE 2025-0, 103 to CVE 2025-0, 107 include SQL injection, XSS file deletion, and OS command injection, potentially allowing attackers to access or delete data and execute commands. Palo Alto Networks has released patches in version 1.2, 101. Organizations are urged to upgrade rotate credentials and restrict access. Expedition reached end of life on December 31st, 2024. In the first major crypto heist of 2025, hackers drained $2.5 million from the DeFi platform Mobi on the Arbitrum network. The breach was caused by a leaked private key, allowing the attacker to exploit a proxy contract. Whitehat hacker Tony Ke recovered $1.5 million in USDC from the stolen funds by exploiting a flaw in the hacker's contract. The remaining $1 million in WETH and WBTC was not recovered. Mobi has pledged to reimburse affected users. Meanwhile, Virtual's protocol's Discord server was breached through a compromised private key, but the issue has been resolved. That's a wrap for today's Hacker Hacks. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and remember, cybersecurity is a constantly shifting battlefield. Be sure to tune in next week for more updates and expert analysis on the latest hacking trends. Until next time, keep your defenses strong.